Welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning into the channel today. Today I'm going to talk about my win that I had in the Columbus Bass Club on July 9th. It's been kind of a slow year for me. I've been kind of slow on videos. I've had some health problems going on. Got those figured out and I'm back at it. I finally got my first victory with Columbus Bass Club. I've had a couple second place finishes. Well, one second place finish and a couple third place finishes. It's been had a lot of missed fish let get away. Could have posted some videos about them, but I only like to do the videos when I do the first place. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I did that and a little bit about our format too. We draw a pit, and we just all draw one pit. A strip pit usually anywhere from 15 to 40 acres is how big they are. And there's anywhere from, what is there, 8 to about 17 boats in there. So in this individual tournament here, there was 12 boats, I believe it was. So we all got to kind of figure out the fish. You know, you can't just go run to a new part of the lake. You got to adjust to the conditions that's going on there and figure out what the fish want there. You can't just run somewhere else where they're active. You got to figure out what they want or make them bite, one of the two. So kind of went there. The pit we drew, I didn't really know much about. I'd been in there once in the past, many years ago in a pit tournament. And not many people did good in there, so I didn't really think it was that great either. Trying to remember back from what it was, and you got to do all this because you draw a pit. And then at the meeting, you have about 5 minutes till everybody leaves there after you draw. Then you have about a 10-minute drive or 15-minute drive to kind of think about where you're going, what you're going to do. And I really didn't remember much about it, and it was a lot different than what I remembered. So I got in there, and everybody was loading their boats, got mine in. I seen the water clarity. The water was kind of dirty. Pretty stained. It was only about a foot visibility, so it was pretty dirty, really dirty actually. So I kind of got to thinking, I knew I needed to throw some darker colors is what I was thinking to start off with. I was thinking since it's summertime, they like to key in on the bluegill on the strip pits. There's a lot of bluegill and I would say perch, but they're not really perch, they're sunfish in there. So I was thinking Junebug. Junebug's a good summertime color. Green pumpkins with any chartreuse in them, I was kind of thinking. Then there was shad in the pits too, and it was kind of a bigger pit, but some of the pits have the bigger shad in them, and some of them just have the smaller shad in them. I had a couple deep diving crankbaits tied on in case I went into some of the deeper pits, which all of them are pretty deep that we go to, but the bigger pits and the deeper pits with the bigger shad, they'll get out there in the middle, and those big shad schools, they'll school out in the middle of the pit, and the bass will sit out there and eat those schools, so you can get out in the middle of the pit and catch those on the deep diving crankbaits. So I had 2 of those tied on. I had a finesse jig tied on, a 2K jig, little punk tied on. It's really good to have out there at all times. I tied on a black and blue, you know, because I told you about the watercolor. So I went with black and blue because they could find it better. And then I tied on a 10-inch worm. Since it is summertime, they like to eat the big 10-inch worms. I have not had much luck on a 10-inch worm so far this year, but I had it tied on trying to get that bite going. I had Junebug in it, which was probably my biggest problem there. I didn't catch anything on the 10-inch worm. I think it was because I had the Junebug color mainly, as there was another guy kind of throwing it. He didn't really catch any big ones on it, though. So, my other resort, and this has been a go-to for me if you've been watching my videos over the past year, you will know this, is the big hammer ringer worm. You can also find a video on my YouTube channel specifically for this lure. What it is just a 4-inch ribbon tail worm, and what sets it apart from others, I like to throw it, let me show it to you there, what sets it apart first. See the rings in it? The rings in it there. Then you have the curly tail. And the curly tail, the action of that curly tail is just absolutely amazing. When you're pulling through the water, it just kicks like crazy. It has an amazing action. And then the rings displace more water. And it works good in dirty water. It works good in clean water. Just gives the fish something they're not used to seeing. And that's also when they grab it, they hold on to it really good. I haven't really had many fish grab this worm and not eat it very well. With some worms, you'll have them take it, kind of pick it up, and you'll miss them. Not this one. They don't really like to bite the back half either. Maybe it's because that texture on it gets them to hold it a little better. So I started off, and I didn't switch over. I had it on. I tried all the bigger. I was going up for a big bite to start with, and that's where I went with the deep diving crankbait. I went with a 10-inch worm a little bit. Went with that jig, trying to get that big bite going. And then I started off with a black and blue ringer worm. Where is my black and blue here? I had it here a second ago. There it is. Started off the black and blue, And right there is their black and blue. And I only threw it, what was it, about 2 or 3 casts. And then, boom, I hooked one. And that was, I believe it was, I don't know if that was a 12-incher or, that was a, yeah, 12-incher, I think it was. You might think that's kind of little, but the slot limit in the pits is 13 inches to 18 inches. So anything under 13 inches, we can bring them in and weigh them in. It's a 3-fish limit. So a 12-incher is pretty good for weight-wise, because anything under 13 you can bring in for weigh-in. Anything in between 13 and 18 inches, you got to take a picture of, and then we take it in, and there's a formula, they convert the weight to, or the length to weight. So I got that. The 12-inch is pretty good to have under the slot, because it usually weighs a little more than their formula, because they kind of lower their weights a little bit, so that you ain't got to worry about the dead fish penalty if you take a picture and all that. So, and then about 2 casts later, I caught another one on that black and blue. And it was about that was a smaller one. It was about 8 inches or so, maybe 9 inches, like I said, a little bitty guy. But that gave me 2 fish, so a little bit of confidence there. I was almost to a limit. I need one more for a limit. So I fished around. Oh, that was about an hour into it. And I fished about, I'd say, another hour and a half. Still no bites. And, I kind of got away from, there was one cove I didn't fish because a guy was having some trolling motor issues, and I had an extra trolling motor pin. I went up to go help him, and the trolling motor pin didn't fit his trolling motor, so I was already up at that end, so I went the other direction. And I remember that's kind of the area I got bit in to start with, so I kind of went back to that area, and I seen some fish kind of miss there, and I seen a guy catch a fish there right off the start. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go back in there and kind of milk that area real good, because I felt there was quite a few fish in there. And that's, I had a feeling somewhere down through there, even though it was dirty water. This color right here, it's called Magic Bug by Big Hammer Lures. If you can see it in there, it's kind of a lighter green pumpkin. It's got a little bit of purple flake in it, and it's got a little bit of silver flake in it. You wouldn't really take it to be a dirty water color, but anytime they're eating on little shad with this ringer worm period, and especially this Magic Bug color, I don't know what it is with it. It works good in clear water, dirty water. But anytime they're eating those little shad, maybe it's just the purple flake in it and the silver flake, it resembles them fish really well. Or the bait fish really well. And the bass just love it. So I was fishing along, and I knew the bites I had were a little further out. So I kind of moved a little bit further out. I was casting a little deeper and working a little bit slower. I moved to an 1/8 ounce sinker. I had a 1/4 ounce sinker on it. Kind of to start with, a little faster fall, but I got the lighter fall. We could stay in the strike zone a little longer once you got it out off the bank and fall slower down and not kind of jot down, so they'd have more time to look at it in that dirty water. So I got out there and I was fishing along, and then I just felt a good bite. I was kind of bringing it back, and I was about to bring it back to the boat. I was so far out. I went to kind of reel it up, and then he just took off with it. He just swallowed it. There wasn't no missing that fish. There wasn't nothing going on. He just hammered it, ran off with it. I caught it. It was 3 pounds 1 ounce, or 3 pounds 8 ounces, my bad. And that ended up being big bass of the tournament. I don't remember what my exact weight was. I have to go look at it. But right after that, or the exact weight of that fish was 3 pounds 8 ounces, but my weight altogether was 5 something. And then a couple casts later, we had about, what was there, about 45 minutes to go when I caught that fish. And then about 2 or 3 casts later, I caught another one, and I had already had it with the fish I had, but I caught one that was, 13 and a half, or I think it was 13 and a half. And I caught another one, which I had to take a picture of it and weigh it in. That pretty much just, I knew it sealed the deal for me. So I got back to weigh in. I ended up weighing in the fish. Like I said, they weighed 5 pounds something altogether, which puts me for, I think, the second biggest weight of the year. And I tied for biggest bass of the year. So in the summertime, that ringer worm works really great. And then there was one more bass caught that was 3 pounds 3 ounces over 18 inches, and that was it. So it's a good thing I had those extra ones. He didn't have anything else to go with it, but I ended up getting first place, getting my first place of the year in Columbus Bass Club, and hopefully now we're in the summertime, the Texas rig bite is picking up. That is what I love to do the most. That's what I grew up doing. That is basically what I am best at. That is my strong suit right there, is the Texas rig, and we have a couple more warm months left, and that is when the Texas rig comes in the best. Like I said, I'll keep you guys tuned. I'll try to tune in a little better, do a little more product reviews for you guys. Hopefully give a couple more tips on some stuff. It's been a little slow for you. Like I said, some health problems going on, but we're kind of getting that all straightened out. Getting to the season here of the summertime. Hopefully you guys will be watching some videos. I'm doing a podcast tonight with Behind the Reel Fishing. If you guys want to tune into that, if this gets uploaded before that, on electronics versus non-electronics. There's a lot of big things coming. I'm probably going to do another video talking about some of the stuff that happened today in the bass fishing world. I'll update you guys later on that. But thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you guys will keep tuning in. I keep building some stuff here. Keep building you guys, giving you guys good content to see. But if you guys are out fishing, you're not throwing a ringer worm, you better get you some in your tackle box because it is a deadly worm. If you've ever thrown a 7-inch ribbon tail worm, pick up the big hammer and get with it. That takes me back to Truman Lake. That ain't in this video, but since hopefully if you guys are still listening, it's kind of a longer video for first place finish, but I like to explain things in depth. I fished a Truman BFL, or a BFL, FL, my bad, Major League Fishing BFL up at Truman Lake, kind of middle of June there, and I fished it, no practice, jumped right in it. I drew Brent Chapman's dad, which was pretty cool. He's a nice guy, so that was pretty awesome to be with kind of a guy you idolize. His dad was in the boat with me, so that was pretty sweet. And I flipped bushes all day up there. I'll just do a report about that. It's a little late, but I'll do a report on kind of what happened. We'll get that separated. But since we'll talk about the ringer worm, I flipped a June bug ringer worm up there all day. I had a 4 fish, almost got my limit. Just camped a little short, missed one a couple times. Actually, I think I missed a 5th fish twice, but almost got him in with that. I would have took a check, so I was right there by it with no practice. So that was pretty good, especially against 170 boats. I think I got 68 out of 178 or 187, something like that boat. So it wasn't too terrible. I was very proud of what I did up there with no practice. And I'll let you guys go. Thanks for tuning in. I'll get some more videos up covering all that stuff. Thank you.